I need you to kill the Disney in your fundraising offers. Don't be offering hope. Don't create vague, happy and lovely sounding scenarios like, hey donor, will you give to make this person feel loved? That's not really enough. Quit asking the donor to help the entire world. That is not something the donor can do. And every time you sandwich that offer between two stories of the good you've done, you're killing response. So I need you to stop. Kill the Disney. Just kill it. Disney is great for thank you letters. It's great for cultivation pieces, but when you're asking in an appeal, especially when it's going to mass audiences, Disney is not going to serve you well. And if you look through your mail, you'll see the majority of offers are kind of, and they have that Disney vibe. So really, I want to talk to you about how to create a good offer. Now, the very, very best. I mean, my favorite person to learn about offers from is Steven Screen. You can Google him. He has some great webinars and articles out there, but just between you and me, there's a couple things I just would like to start off with. I never, ever, ever start a piece of fundraising writing until I know what the offer is. You cannot build a good appeal if you don't have a good offer. So I've already told you this before and you know it. 40% of the success is the list, 40% is the offer, and 20% is the creative. So here's the good news for those of you who can't hire a good copywriter but have to write for your org. You don't have to be phenomenal. You got to make sure your list is good. You got to make sure, you know, the people, your house file, those you're sending to, you've warmed them up. They know you. They want to hear from you. So that's, you know, that's part of cultivating your house file, your list, whether they're donors or just your audience. So yeah, and then the offer. Spend your time on the offer before you ever get into the copy. The copy, the package, 20%. Now here's something that might sound, I don't know, maybe it's a little controversial. I understand your value proposition is everything. You need to know exactly why you exist, what your offer is to the donor, why give to your organization versus any organization at all. So the value proposition is incredibly important, but as a copywriter, I don't need to know every single program. I don't need to understand the ins and outs. Now, donors fund outcomes, not programs. They want to know what their gift will do. So the problem I see a lot is nonprofits talking about their programs. You take the program out and you talk about the outcome, but all that to say is, what was I going to say? Oh, that's what I was going to say. I don't need to understand all you do, and neither does your reader, your prospect, your donor. If it's presumptuous and it's rude to force your reader to understand the ins and outs of your org before they're able to give. It's worth remembering as you write, people don't need to know about your organization for them to give a gift. Don't force them to learn. You can educate them in welcome sequences after, but in a piece of fundraising writing, that is not the time. You forget as a nonprofit, you are selling, you are offering something. So let's just talk about the for-profit space. If I am selling a laptop, I'm not going to force you to understand, you know, the RAM, the CPU, the central processing unit. I'm not going to make you understand like how many ports or whatever it has. No, I'm going to talk about the benefits. Like this is going to run quickly. It's easy to carry with you. We need to approach our fundraising like that. We're going to talk about the outcome. What does the donor get in response to giving a gift? What outcomes do they make possible? In sales, you have a problem. They identify, you know, what is your problem? Your laptop's running slow. They offer a solution that you can actually buy into. So they offer a laptop. Okay, they might offer it at a price point that you could afford. So they might be running a sale. So we've already got a problem, a solution, a deadline, an urgency, and then we've also got a price point. That is in every single offer in the for-profit space, and it should be in every single offer in your nonprofit writing. Your problem cannot be conceptual. It cannot be hard to understand. It needs to be jargon-less. You need to be able to explain your offer to a 5th or 6th grader and have them understand it. The problem needs to be understandable. The solution needs to be understandable. You also need to make sure your problem is human-sized. Again, you don't ask them to save the world because the donor knows they can't save the world. When you start quoting like statistics and numbers, you're pushing them far away. Get out! Now, an offer to a foundation, an offer to a major donor is going to look different. Your problem needs to be suited to that unique donor or that unique audience. So in terms of the problem you choose, it needs to be compelling to that specific audience. The problem needs to be compelling and tap into the heart of your donor. Compelling isn't Disney. Compelling isn't vague. Compelling isn't big. Compelling aligns with the values of your donor or possible or soon to be donor. So what's a bad offer? Well, I'll come up with one. Give foster kids the support they need. Okay, a couple things. We're talking about kids in the plural. Support is vague and it's not compelling because I don't know really what I'm going to give. So let's rework it. We would talk in the singular. We would also include a price point. We would give multiple reasons to give today. And we could do that within a couple sentences. We might say something like, donor, your gift of $25 will help bring a foster child into a safe, nurturing home where they feel loved again. Yeah, that's all I want to say. And so then we want to tell the donor what happens if they do multiples of that $25 offer. So we would total up what does it cost to get one child into one home. We would divide it and make it as small an increment as possible. So let's just pretend that it costs $25 an hour to support a child being in a foster care home. Okay, well, we'll say for as little as $25, you can fund 1 hour of their care in a safe foster home. For $50, you can give 2 hours. And so then on the reply device, you can ask for multiples of that offer. Wrapping up here, I just want to show you 3 different appeals I've gotten. You know, I just collect these at this point. So this one's from Convoy of Hope. It says Urgent Hope Alert. Now, my first thought is I wouldn't put urgent and hope together. I know that's their name, but it just is confusing. It just to say urgent help needed. Look at the appeal list. They would have done better putting this on white text, but the great thing is lots of white space. It's very easy to skim. We're talking about a Category 5 hurricane that's devastated, you know, Acapulco. Help me, please. Now, they're talking about multiple disasters. They would have been better by just choosing one disaster to talk about. What's serving them really well is the fact it's easy to read. We have very skimmable text. We even have, you know, please respond immediately at the very top. Urgency is like your best friend, which is typically why urgent appeals always do well, even if it's not perfect. What's really funny is on the tear off, the very bottom, they say, yes, I want to rush life-saving aid to the survivors of Hurricane Otis and violence in the Middle East, as well as support our life-changing disaster relief and follow. They would have just said, yes, I want to rush life-saving aid to survivors of Hurricane Otis. That'd be perfect. They could leave it there. And then they could also say, and support all operations of Convoy of Hope. They wouldn't need to identify every single initiative that this gift is going to go to. Rush life-saving aid to survivors. It would have been good if they asked me for that in the body copy. Overall, though, I'm just so pleased this is so easy to read. Typically, a faux reply device, we know it always will perform better if you include a faux reply device at the bottom of your appeal, and then a real one that's customized to that donor's past giving, so that they can give a gift that matches their capacity. And you can always typically do, you know, times 1, times 1.5, times 2. For major donors, I often leave a blank, but I do above the blank mention when their last gift was. I mean, major donors typically know what they've given and when, but it's just, again, it's like a mental hook. Hey, this is what you gave, thank you, and then a blank line. Okay, so this other one I want to show you is from Mission Cry, Urgent Request. So it's interesting because I think this is a newsletter, but they say urgent request on the front. For newsletters, you'd be better off saying your newsletter enclosed. We just know that from testing. So when you don't know what to put, your newsletter enclosed, do it, do it, do it. We already know that works. Don't do anything else. Don't be creative. So they say urgent request, but then they give me an update. Now, on the back, we see that there's ethnic violence in India. Copywriting is really good. They should say it's hard for you in America. They say it's hard for us in America to imagine going to church, having it raided and burnt down. So like they're pulling me in, and people are being raped. So like that's all really good, and it resonates with the reader. They just should be talking about you, not we in the plural. Just always talk you. Tom Ahern always says say you. Now, the problem is basically the offer isn't really anywhere in here. I don't understand what the offer is. I just know there's big problems, and I don't know what it cost. I know it cost $11,000 to send a container, but I don't, that's a big number. Like, I don't know where I fit. And then on top of that, they give me many things I can give, you know, support Bibles, support distribution. So there needs to be a solid offer in this. Ask for one thing related to this really good story about the violence in India. I'm gonna just cut my own self off because I could do this forever. I actually do it with my own work too. Like, I always find things I want to improve. So I'm not being mean. I really just, continual learning is continual assessment, self-assessment, and then looking at what else is out there. My name is Danielle Wallace. I'm the owner of Grow Better. I help small to mid-sized nonprofits optimize their fundraising results. If you are struggling with your appeals, your e-appeals, you don't even know what you should be doing, book a call with me. I'd love to meet you and just see if we might be a good fit to work together. So anyways, I'll see you next week.